Hi all, this video is to give you information about EDLD 8735, Practicum in Higher Education. My hope is that by doing this video, it'll answer many of the questions that you may have, and it'll also get you thinking about your practicum for the upcoming semester when you're going to take it. So let me go through a few slides, and at the end, I'll have my contact information so you can do follow-up conversations with me to answer any questions you may have. So EDLD 8735 is our practicum in higher education. It's your final course in the program. And then the practicum provides students with the opportunity to gain experience relating to career goals in an office or program within a higher education setting. The integration of academic coursework and experiential learning helps prepare students through practical application of theory, research, and concepts. It also aids the student in their career development. So this is important that as you are seeking out your practicum experience, that you're finding a rich experience that is going to help you apply what you've learned in the courses with us and now be able to take that theory and apply it to practice. And so our hope is that you'll be able to see much of the theories and concepts and content we've talked about in the class, and now you can see that in your practical experience as you're doing your practicum and doing your hours in that position. I wanted to be able to provide you a tentative syllabus for the course. And so if you go to tinyurl.com/y82d8vav, so go to that tinyurl.com, you're going to find a tentative syllabus for the upcoming semester. It's subject to change. A few tweaks may be changed within it, but for the most part, it's going to be a fairly accurate syllabus, and that'll give you a really good sense of the course, of what it's going to be for the upcoming semester. Now, in our practicum course, one of the pieces that we're going to talk about and focus on is this idea of being a scholar practitioner. And a definition that I really appreciate and that I share with our students in practicum is that of McClintock, who asserts that scholarly practice is grounded in theory and research, includes assessment and evaluation, and is driven by personal values, commitment, and ethical conduct. And so these are the pieces that I'm going to challenge you, and the practicum course is going to challenge you on thinking about your role as an educator and as an administrator. These are going to include, how do you use theory and research? Then, how do you take that theory and apply it to practice? So that practice of applying theory to practice. I want to challenge you to think about assessment and evaluation and what is our responsibility as educators and administrators to build that into our practice. I want you to think about issues of ethics and social justice and how we serve as change agents in higher education. I want you to think about your moral compass. And when I think about a moral compass, I think of the work of Folan, and we'll talk about that within practicum. And then lastly, I want you to think about this idea and the need for professional development, that our learning does not end at the end of practicum or the end of this master's program, but that we're going to continue as professionals to develop ourselves and our staff and our students throughout our careers. So this is a piece that we're really going to bring home during practicum. It's helping you start to view yourself, if you don't already, as a scholar or practitioner, and really being able to take every piece from the program and all the content and all the theories and the lessons learned, and really being able to help that shape you in the work that you do as an administrator in higher education. So we're going to talk a lot more about being a scholar practitioner and how you can see yourself in that role. For your fieldwork internship requirements, the first is that it needs to be in a higher education setting. So the vast majority of you, this will be in a college or university. It needs to have at least 100 plus hours to where you're working at that practicum site. And it needs to be supervised and mentored by somebody that's not your current supervisor. So these are the three tenets or the three basic requirements for the practicum experience. It's in a higher education setting, 100 plus hours that you're doing, and you need to have supervision mentorship by somebody that's not your current supervisor. In terms of the practicum site, once again, it needs to be in a college and university setting. It needs to have somebody that's supervising and mentoring you. It should be a meaningful experience. So I want you to seek out a site that is going to be meaningful to you. And as you look at that meaningful experience, the first way I want you to look at it is this can be an opportunity to help you explore a career path. So, as you've gone through this program, you may say to yourself that you currently work in residence life, but you would love to be an academic advisor. This is an amazing opportunity for you to use Practicum to gain that experience to then become an academic advisor. I've had students who have gone through Practicum before and thought they wanted to be an academic advisor, utilize their Practicum experience to get that experience, and then realized very quickly through those 100 hours that they were doing that academic advising, for example, wasn't for them. Or on the flip side, it's reinforced for students that yes, this is what they want to do with their life, and this is where they want their career to begin or to continue. And so this is an excellent opportunity for you to utilize Practicum to help you explore that career path of where you want to go in higher education. Secondly, it's a great opportunity for professional development for your career. So if you already know which direction you want to go in, so let's say that you wanted to work in Greek life, you currently maybe work in Greek life, and that's a career path that you want to continue along, then what I want you to do is I want you to think about what experience in your practicum can you get that's going to complement the experiences that you currently have to help you gain more professional development, so that'll help you in your career advancement, help you being a stronger professional in that respective area. So really think about those two different ways to really make the most out of your practicum to benefit you professionally. Now, one of the pieces that often comes up is folks that are current full-time professionals often struggle with this idea of how do I squeeze in a practicum when I have a full-time job Monday through Friday from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. Well, I want to share that it is definitely doable. We have a large number of students every year that are full-time professionals, have home commitments, family commitments, and then a full-time job. And they're able to find this balance. And some ways to start to think about this is thinking about evenings and weekends. So as you seek out practicum sites, what are some opportunities on a college campus that maybe if you work until 5 o'clock, how could you then come in the evenings and then be involved? And how can you be involved on the weekends? Another piece that some of our professionals will do is they'll work with their current departments to arrive early and or stay late. And so that works out so that if they arrived early, then maybe they can spend part of that afternoon in another office on campus. So they're still working the same amount of hours in their current position, but they balance it out by being able to spend time in another office as well. Some folks have been really creative in using their lunch break. I previously had a student that did academic advising for their practicum, and what they actually did is they utilized their lunch break every day, that hour lunch break, and they would advise a student every day. So they spent 5 hours every week just using their lunch break as their advising appointment time. So that worked out really well for that student. So that's something to think about. How can you creatively utilize your lunch break? And then maybe if you're coming in early or staying late, maybe that offers you the opportunity to extend your lunch break so that it's no longer just an hour. Maybe it's a 2-hour break. Well, then if you do that 5 days a week, that's 10 hours right there each week. And then that you don't have to do that for 10 weeks to meet the obligation of your 100 hours for your practicum. And then some students get creative and then have a combination of working remotely and then going to the site. So there may be an opportunity for you with the site that you're working on. Maybe they have 2 or 3 big days over the course of the semester, and that you're working with that site to be able to help plan and prepare for those few days. And then our working professionals sometimes will then take a vacation day for those 2 or 3 days over the course of the semester so they can go in there to be for that activity for those days. Or they'll take a couple half days here and there to go in and meet with their site and have that balance of remote work along with face-to-face meetings that they're able to build in. Now, start thinking about what it is you want to do for your practicum and ways that you can fit it in with your schedule. Think outside the box. Think creatively here. I would love to be able to have a conversation with you. to help you think through this, brainstorm some ideas. So if this is something that you're struggling with, definitely reach out to me. I'd love to be able to brainstorm and process through this with you. I feel very confident in saying that there is a way to make this work for all of the students who will be taking practicum. For some students, it just takes a little more creative thinking and outside the box thinking. But I'm confident that together we can help you develop a great experience. All right, so some examples of practicum experiences just to kind of get the wheels turning for you. And the piece that I love about practicum, and I think our students also really, really appreciate, is that practicum is tailored to each student. I often joke that practicum is a love-hate-love relationship, and that our students love the idea of practicum to start off with because they get to tailor what that experience is based around their interest and their needs. So it's not the faculty member or the program saying this is what you're going to do. It's up to each student to be able to create that meaningful experience for themselves. So students will love it at that point. Then it comes to the need for that student to then be the one to go out and actually make that happen, to have those conversations, to work with different sites and to reach out to professionals to solidify it. And that can be a bit stressful, of just trying to make sure all that comes together and then find the ideal site and to make that happen. So that's where the hate part comes in. But then once that is solidified and they're all set to do their practicum, then the love piece comes back in because students have such a rich experience in their practicum. So very excited for each of you because you're going to be able to make this experience what you want it to be, and it's going to be unique to each of you. But just a few examples to get your wheels turning about what practicum could be for you. The first is advising. So every year we'll have students that will serve as academic advisors in some capacity. That could be to where a student is, spending a couple hours each day, or maybe one full day a week serving as an academic advisor in some capacity in a college and university. But other folks that are interested in student activities, this includes them advising student organizations, helping plan events, and then having various responsibilities working within student life and student activities. Greek life. I've had students participate in the planning and running of Greek Week, serving on both local, regional, and national planning committees for national conferences and annual conferences, and as well as being involved with national associations, as well as the various chapters. So there's a lot of great opportunities there to be involved with Greek life. Residence life. I've had students very interested in this, and they've had the opportunity to serve on various committees that residence life has, especially in the spring semester is a good example. In the spring, there's often several committees that are going on. So RA selection is taking place during the spring semester. They're getting ready to train the new RAs, putting together the hiring processes, the training schedules, all of that. So there's opportunities for students to be involved on those committees for their practicum. Admissions, we've had students that have worked with helping with open house and overseeing the peer ambassador program. Disability services, there's great opportunities there to work on events and creating resources for students on campus. And then another area is working with athletics and recreation. So this includes events, administrative, and advising students. Now, when you look at this list, I don't want you to feel that you're locked into these, 8 ideas or these 8 different areas. The sky is the limit here. So for you, it's finding what you're passionate about. It may be service learning, it may be something within academic affairs. It may be within fundraising and philanthropy on the campus, community service, service learning. It could be any of those administrative areas within a university setting, right, on the administrative side. So find what you're passionate about. And I would love if you have questions and you say, Dr. Tolman, this is what I think I'd like to do. I would love to have a conversation with you now, early on, to be able to kind of process through, and I can then bounce some ideas and be a great sounding board for you and try to help you find ways to make that work. So start thinking about it now, and then if you can start having conversations with potential sites and potential supervisors or mentors, that'll make it much easier for you to do that the semester before that you actually start practicum. So as we speak about practicum and your mentor and supervisor, just a few things to note is this individual is going to have oversight of your work. They're going to complete the mentor agreement and evaluation forms of you at the end of the semester. They cannot currently be your direct supervisor. And then lastly, this is somebody that you want that's going to be supportive and somebody that you can learn from. And so as you're thinking about this, not only the experience that you want and the site that you want, the type of experience it is, but I also want you to think about the individual that you're going to be able to learn from in this mentor or supervisor, and who can that person be. Because honestly, I feel that you're going to learn as much from the experience itself as you are from the mentor and supervisor that you're working with here. So both are very important pieces to the puzzle. So make sure that you have a great fit both for the experience as well as the person that's going to be guiding you through that mentorship and supervision. So then the first step for you at this point is, so if you're going to take practicum for the upcoming semester, now is a great time, like I said, to get a jump start here. Start thinking about where you want where you want that experience to be, what type of department it is, and then you can start having those conversations with those departments and potential supervisors. Now, the first thing you're going to do in the practicum course to start the semester is you're going to submit a practicum proposal. And then in short, this is basically you stating what it is that you want to do. So in there, you'll describe what the practicum experience is going to be, where it will be, what institution, which department, who your supervisor will be. And so that is great because now you can already start working on that. You can already have all of that solidified this semester so that when you start next semester for practicum, that you already have that ready to go right off the bat. Once you then submit your practicum proposal and it's approved, then the next step for you is you're going to do this mentor supervisor agreement form. So you'll type up this official agreement. Your supervisor from your practicum site will sign it. And then once this is completed and submitted, you're all set to start doing your 100 plus hours at that site. So that's very, very exciting. And then, like I said, I strongly encourage you to start these conversations now of meeting with the various sites and supervisors to start to arrange this experience that you would like to have. And then you can reach out to me already now this semester to start running some of these things by me. I can already start to approve your proposals for you, so that way you're all set to start the upcoming semester right away. Okay? All right, so then as you go through practicum, the largest piece of practicum really is that 100 plus hours of the experience. The other big piece to practicum then is putting together your practicum portfolio. And I just briefly want to talk about this just to give you a heads up of what it looks like. But in short, there are 11 sections that you're going to create in your practicum portfolio. The first section is going to be a cover page and a table of contents. The second page is your traditional introduction to your portfolio. This third section is going to be samples of work from each course. So for every course that you've had in the higher ed program, you're going to list each course in chronological order, and you're going to then include in there samples from that course. So you may include a paper from that course, a project that you did, a presentation. You may include several pieces or one piece. It's up to you. Section 4 will be your resume and your cover letter. Section 5 is going to be your introduction to practicum and the job description for the experience that you participated in. Section 6 is going to be the reflection of the experience and application of program content. So this is where you're really reflecting back on the program as a whole and your practicum experience. And then you're going to then take the course content that we've talked about throughout the last few years with us, and you're going to apply that theory to practice piece and then write a paper basically that examines that theory to practice piece of that course content being applied to your practicum experience. Section 7 then is going to be artifacts and samples from your practicum experience. Maybe you have flyers for something you created. Maybe you did a survey, some type of assessment and evaluation. You'll include those pieces in Section 7. Section 8 is going to be your supervisor evaluation. Section 9 is going to be a reflection and synthesis of the program standards in our higher ed program. Section 10 would be advice and words of wisdom to an incoming student. So if another student were to ask you about this program and say they're either thinking about starting it or they've already enrolled and they're about to start their first semester, what would your words of wisdom be? What advice would you give to that individual? That's section 10. And then lastly, there's a series of self-assessments that every student in Practicum will complete. So in short, those are the 11 sections that will work together over the course of the semester in Practicum for you to complete for your final portfolio. The course textbook for our Practicum is going to be Amy and Reeser's Beginning Your Journey. This is one of the NASPA texts. It is a phenomenal text. Every semester I've taught Practicum that I've used this textbook, and the students love this textbook. It resonates with them greatly, both for the folks that are young professionals that are currently in a professional position to those that are about to seek a full-time position and to begin their career. It's a great textbook. Our students often share with me that even if it wasn't a required text in this course, if they knew how helpful this text would be, they would choose to read it on their own. So it's a great text. The only trouble to know about the text is that it can often be on back order at the start of a semester. So I strongly encourage you to order in advance, just because that shipping can be delayed. So I encourage you to go out right now. You can get the 4th edition. You can get it on Amazon, I believe. You can also go directly to the NASPA website. They'll carry it there too. Okay, learning contract. The other piece, the component to the course is I want you as an adult learner, because it's at the andragogy is at the heart of adult learning theory, is that you should be able to be invested and have say in how you learn over the course of the semester. So within Practicum, we utilize a learning contract, and you're going to pick up one of 3 assignments to complete in the class. The first option you'll have is you can meet with 3 student affairs professionals, and you will then have conversations with them about their career experiences, how they advanced in their career, words of wisdom they would have for you, what they think that it means to be a strong student affairs professional, professional development, strengths and weaknesses, things they wish they would have known as they were coming out of a grad program. And so that's the first one, is that you could interview and then put together a narrated PowerPoint presentation on the meetings with those 3 professionals. The second is, getting back to this idea of theory to practice, is you can identify a research article and that relates to your practicum experience, and then you can review it and discuss it with a student affairs professional. So you could then, perhaps your mentor or supervisor, they could read the same research article as you. You can read that, discuss it with them, and then you'll then put together a narrated PowerPoint describing that conversation and then that research article. And the third option is you can put together a presentation of your practicum experience. And in short, I think of this sort of like a commercial that you could create a quick video, anywhere from a 2 to 5 minute video that highlights what it is that you did for your practicum experience. And then we could then in the program show that to future practicum students to give them an idea of what your practicum experience looked like. And then also your current practicum site could utilize that video to show it to people to attract them and to recruit them to doing a similar practicum with them in the future as well. So these are your 3 options. You're going to choose one of them as part of your learning contract for the course to help you further demonstrate your understanding of course content and being able to apply it through the course. All right, I want to walk you quickly through the tentative course schedule and just kind of some of the highlights of the more important weeks in the course. The first week for us really is the getting started. So you'll be posting a video introduction. In the Practicum course, I want to make sure that you are in a solid place and you feel really good to start the semester and your Practicum is arranged and you're all set. So you and I will then schedule a one-on-one conversation to begin the semester. We'll do that within the first week. So we'll talk either on the phone, Skype, or in person, up to you. And then lastly, your Practicum proposal is going to be due that first week. Then in the second week, your mentor agreement is going to be due. And then that means that since your mentor agreement is due in the second week, that you can already start your practicum experience already in that second week. If not by the second week, definitely by the third week, you will start your practicum of those 100+ hours. Then in the third week, that's when your learning contract agreement is going to be due. So of those three options that I just discussed with you, you're going to pick which one it is you want to do, and then you're going to commit to that by the third week of the semester. And then starting in the fourth week, that's where we're going to start reading the NASPA text by Amy and Reeser. And then each week we'll read one chapter together, and we'll have a variety of ways that we communicate about that chapter. Some weeks it'll be a weekly discussion, a traditional post online. Some weeks it'll be a video blog. Others you will then be talking with classmates, a fellow classmate on the phone or in Skype or in person. And then other weeks you'll be talking with a professional in student affairs and higher education about that week's reading. So we mix up the medium pretty well in terms of engaging you in the Amy and Reeser text. All right, the next big piece then is going to be halfway through the semester in week 8. You'll have a midterm reflection that you're going to do on your experience thus far through the course. Then in week 12, that's when your learning contract project is due. So of those three options, the one that you selected is going to be due in week 12. And then in week 14, your portfolios and mentor evaluations are going to be due. And then that kind of brings us to the end of the semester. And one of the pieces intentionally there is having your portfolio being due in week 14, on the earlier side in week 14, because this lets you wrap up the semester, especially if you have other courses that you're taking at the same time that may have other final papers that are due. I wanted to then structure it so that the portfolio is due just a little bit earlier, so that way we can better balance your time. And then that way you can get excited and start preparing for graduation. All right, so this was a really quick overview of Practicum. In short, the most important thing that you should be doing right now this semester before you take Practicum is already starting to figure out what it is that you want to do. What do you want that experience to be? What type of area should it be in? Do you know a department that you can already reach out to? Do you have colleagues that you can reach out to start to network to then establish where that practicum can be? The more of those conversations you can have now, the less stressed you will be to start practicum the following semester. In an ideal world, you would love the semester before to already know what it is you want to do for your practicum, who you're going to be supervised by, and where that practicum is going to be, and when you're going to start that practicum. If you can start working on those pieces now, you'll be in a really good place to start practicum the following semester and to jump right in. Now, with all that being said, please know, and I think you'll find this to be true, is I'm going to be with you every step of the way through your practicum experience. So you can always reach out to me. You can send me an email at any point. Any questions you may have after watching this video, definitely let me know. Another piece that students greatly appreciate is I'm very, very accessible, and that you can actually always put yourself right on my calendar at your convenience. You never have to ask. If you just go to stevetolman.youcanbook.me, you go right to that website. It actually has my calendar in live time, and it lets you find a convenient appointment time for you. You put yourself right on my calendar. It lets you do a face-to-face, a phone call, or a video teleconference through Skype or FaceTime or Google Hangouts. You put yourself right on my calendar, and we can talk about practicum at any point, whether it's this semester or next semester as well. I'm really excited to be able to be a part of your practicum experience, and I'm really looking forward to your practicum that you'll soon be taking. If you have any questions, please let me know, and I look forward to talking with you all soon.